out of the room, in the room, out of the room. There we go. And also one that won't quit playing with the wires. So welcome, happy Tuesday in the stock market. I got my coffee ready to go here. Also got WEBULL up, ready to go. I got CoinMarketCap ready to go, tip ranks. And today, talking a little bit about Tesla and the fact that it's back up over $700 finally. And it looks like early on in the pre-market here that we have some buy-side pressure building for us. So that's absolutely excellent right now. Ooh, my goodness, look at that jump that we have in the sell side. Huge order going in at the 720 mark. So lots of sell side pressure. Going to push that down. We have less than 5 minutes until the market opens. So it'll be interesting to see Tesla's price action play out through that time. We have AI Day for Tesla on August the 19th. So on that day, we get some information. As a matter of fact, I pulled up an article that's over here. So this was already a date that was going to be announced, and this was July 29th. So this isn't particularly new information, but I think that's something that really talks to why we're seeing some of the price action we are, plus the Tesla deliveries and everything. So we have a good price action back up over $700, and some of that could be some of the excitement that we have over the that information coming out about the buildup that they have. Let's move up in here. So recruiting more AI talent, but also from that we get more information on what's been going on through Tesla AI development. And also we get insights into Tesla Dojo that's used to train the neural nets that we have on the computer vision system. I think that's mentioned down here. There we go. On the hardware test front, Tesla is expected to give an update on a supercomputer program, which is going to lead Tesla Dojo, an upcoming supercomputer optimized for neural net training. So optimized for that neural net training. So basically a neural net is when you have a huge number of computers that are working together, bringing in the data that they have in order to make these quick, really super rapid communications that they have throughout the network, and that helps to drive the AI and also the machine learning that you have. And 5G should be a big player in that when it comes to making those decisions, especially when we talk about autonomous driving. The fact that they all have to be able to communicate together with each other is going to be huge. I don't know if you heard the cat in the background, but I have one cat who wants out until I let him out, then he wants in. And I have another one playing at the wires right now. So, so it's a little bit distracting, but I'll persevere. All right. So Tesla pushing up close to that 720. Look at that. Can you see it? That sell side pressure that we have over here in the level twos that hits right around that 720 mark. I wouldn't be surprised if right at the open that we got a decent drop with some profit taking. Followed by, a decent recovery that we have from Tesla moving forward. But we got to be careful. Some of these orders, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go through. These are ones that could be just there to kind of fish things out. And then it's right before market open, those orders get canceled. And then we end up moving to the upside. So pre-market is kind of a weird time. And there's reasons why people don't do a lot of trading during the pre-market hours, why you can't trust a lot of those prices. But that is some decent pressure. We'll see if it goes through and gives us that nice little limitation that we have, or if the buy side is enough to melt that away. All right. Also, Tesla up looks like about 1.33% in the pre-market. So let me organize this here. What do we got? We got just over a minute yet. Good morning, Bill. Good to have you. If you guys want to see any particular companies, if it's ones that I follow, I'll talk about those. If it's ones that I don't follow, I'll still talk about them. I just won't be able to talk about them in as great a detail. So just something to keep in mind. I can tell you what I see from the chart. I can tell you what I know from experience. So it all depends on which company it is. But either way, I'd be glad to talk about it. So just hit me up in the comments, say good morning, ask about a particular stock, anything that you really want. Just go ahead, let me know. Oops. Now I'm dropping things. All right. So moving on from there. Let me see. I want to go to TAN because that is... Okay, that's what we have up here. Solar ETF. And I want to go out to the daily chart on this one. Market open about 40 seconds, it looks like. So solar, if you've been following this, I've talked about it before. Thank you, Venkat. I will check it out. Bill, AMD, perfect. And good morning, Venkat. Venkat. I'll work on that pronunciation. All right. So solar is one that I've talked about that was sort of lagging behind. You can see it finally caught its stride. It broke up over the 200-day before dropping down again. Now it looks to be sort of range bound between the moving averages that we have, the blue being the 50 period, the 50-day, and the orange being the 200 period. In this case, the 200-day, because we're looking at the daily chart. So we have an upper limit on this about $89. Looks like the market is just about to open for us here. There we go. Back to Tesla. I will get those tickers. Just give me a moment here. All right, market open. Looks like the open for Tesla, 719 on the nose. And then let's go down to intraday to look to see the price action and see how it's opening. We'll go down to the 5-minute chart since it's early for this one. There we go. All right. So like I said about the sell side pressure coming in at about 720, sometimes those orders, they either get melted away or they get canceled right before the market opens. And then you get the opposite effect from what you would see when you look at the level twos. And so that's what we see out of that quick pop. The pre-market, really anything can happen. It doesn't determine the rest of the day. However, it is something to watch out for. We have a decent amount of buy side pressure. There's big sell side. Let me see if I can see in the orders. I can't see from right here. Maybe if I can expand this, we can see where that price wall comes in. All right. There we go. It looks like WEBULL hung up on me there for a second. Some of the troubles that I have are because the computer that I use isn't really gutsy enough to handle the live streaming. So just watch that. We actually have a decent amount of buy side support right at the 720 mark. So that could be a key level for us moving forward today. Down the 1-minute chart, we're getting in a golfing candle. And this is going to jump around quite a bit, so it's going to be hard to talk about. It's important to see where that candle closes to see the next minute where that's going to go. But it's a pretty small time frame. I like to go actually 30 minutes, but at the market open, you don't see as much as you want to see. So it looks like right around mid 722, 722.59 is where we topped out. And now we're back under that 720 mark. I think that we're going to, it is possible with the AI day. It could be big enough news that it allows our prices to increase for Tesla over the short term leading up to that day. And then it could be something that near that day, around that day, or whether it happens on that day, that we get a bit of profit taking or selling off. So we'll see if it's acting as that catalyst as August plays out. We have, 16 calendar days. So I didn't count it or anything. So probably, I don't know, 10 or 11 trading days that are in there, maybe 12 trading days leading up to that time. And we'll see if Tesla's price, if it runs up or if it holds steady or if it falls off a little bit leading up to that time. And if it does, that could be one of those things that's acting as a catalyst for us, for Tesla over the short term. It's one that I hold in my portfolio and I am bullish on for the long term. So it's not something that I'm going to be selling my shares of too easily and definitely not too quickly. But just over the short term, it's one that I'm watching to see how much AI day is playing into that, so that when we have similar days, we know what's happening. Battery day last year was another one of those things that we were watching out for. So it'd be really cool to see what sort of information updates we get, and also what sort of AI talent they recruit from that. All right, let's move on to Tiger for Bencott. There we go. All right, so it looks like we got fintech, online brokerage, global Chinese investors. Okay. Woo. Nice little sell-off right at the beginning. I wonder what the news is for that. Let me look at the daily chart, Bencott, to see a little bit more of what's been going on. Oh, wow. Okay, so they've had a gap down in a recent sell-off, and that sell-off led us down to, looks like fairly strong support. This is the third time that it's hit that. Actually, we had a double bottom here, which usually leads to a bullish rally, and that's what we had. And then we topped out and we hit resistance right around that $30 per share. And you could really maybe talk even about that as a double top right immediately following where it sold off again. Usually there's some sort of news that causes that drop. So now that we see that, so the good news is we've switched from being below the 200-day to above the 200-day, and that goes from resistance to support. And so right now it's trading, near support levels when you look at the daily chart overall, that we're near those lows. But furthermore, it's trading near support according to the 200-day moving average. So depending on your long-term outlook for this, Bencott, this could be one that if you're looking for a buying point, and this is not financial advice, this is entertainment, and these are just my opinions. So I'll talk about myself. If I was looking for a buying point because I was bullish on this stock, this would be one of those times where I would feel a little bit less risk because we are near two different support levels. One's from the different lows that we have, and also one from the moving average that we have. And to know more, I would have to look at the long-term, the fundamentals of the company to find out, where they go from here and see what sort of headwinds they're facing that caused this most recent sell-off where it did drop down. We do have a positive slope on the 200-day. We flattened out on the 50-day. If we can get that to turn back around, and from here it could, because even though we went low, a little higher, and then besides this candle here, we went and that looks like some max selling pressure day on the 27th. Otherwise, we're even higher than we were on these two previous times. So we still have a slow upward grind. We really want to see this high over. Well, first of all, it could hit resistance up here at the 50-day, but we do want to see it overtake some of these other highs that we've had recently. Analyst estimates on this one. All right, so it is honestly, this is another thing that I look for when I go to take a long position, is it trading rich according to the analyst estimates that are out there? And honestly, it's still trading below the low estimate, so that's a perfect position. If it was trading above the low estimate, I would like it less. So that's also something that I would look for. Let's check out the news to see what happened back on the 27th if we can. So that should be, let me see, unusual options activity. So if I had to guess at the options activity, given the recent price has been pushed down, I wonder if it has a bearish sentiment to it. Yeah, there it is. So sentiment bearish, trade. All right. So it looks, this is probably that somebody sold a whole bunch of calls, if I had to guess. Okay. All right. And then what other news do we have? Where was that big drop off at? That drop off was on the 6th of July. So if we go back to July 6th, there we go. So Asian ADR is moving sharply lower in Tuesday's trading. American depository receipts, Asian stocks trading lower. On Asia. Okay, North Asia gainers. So this is something I have to read more about. So I don't want to take up too much time at the live stream, Venkat, looking at the specific news for this. But if you go back to this to read more about what's going on in North Asia and what's causing them to trade lower, I think that you'll find a lot of explanation for the sell-off that we had in price. And from there, you can determine whether or not that's something that's temporary or if it's something that's just a headwind. Is it a headwind that's going to keep the company down for years, or is it something that's going to pass? Is it just FUD? These are all things that you want to consider if it's going to bounce off this price that we have right now. And honestly, even though we did pass down through the 200-day, it still is. We're dancing right around it, and we still are. Even if you look at today's candle, we came down and we just gave a little smooch to support down here on the 200-day. And then, we're still back up above that. So as long as that support holds, the longer it holds, the better confirmation we have, the more likelihood that it will hold. So just some things to consider. So I hope that helps out for you. Good morning, John. Great to have you. Bill lets you go to check out AMD. And thank you, Venkat, for allowing me that opportunity to check out that stock. This could be one of those good times, one of those good opportunities. All right. Woo! Look at that rally for AMD. There we go. So let's zoom out. I just want to take a look at the different volumes that we have. The recent volume is very good for AMD. We had positive slope on the 200-day, flattened out for a while, 50-day. We got that nice little golden cross technical indicator. And the day that we got that golden cross, and moving averages are lagging indicators. They will be behind the price action. They follow the price action. But still, we had that little golden cross, and then we ripped upward from there. And really, we want to watch that volume. Right now, we are in the overbought territory. So if this is a swing trade, for instance, this could be one that it'll start curving back down, and then the MACD will end up throwing a sort of sell signal where you have your MACD line crossing back over your signal line. So that's just something in more of a short term versus a more of a long-term point of view. When you talk about AMD, the fact that it's trading up above the moving averages is a really good thing. Let's compare that to more of its price action. All right. So when I see a steep run up like this, I mean, look what it did before when there's a steep run up that we had. It kind of barcoded for a while or had a bit of a volatility, but traded in a range. from 73 up to about $88. So a $15 range on that. This could be one of those things that struggles up against resistance right around that top that it's putting in right now. And we can see right now that the tops are even for the moment, that we failed to break up above that top. I'm not saying we won't for the day, but look at that sell side pressure building in the level 2. And it looks like the bulls are pushing back on that. Breaking above that would be good, saying that there could be just a little bit more room, and we'll see where it closes today. If it closes up above that previous one, then we don't have resistance, a sign of resistance yet. Let's look at the analyst estimates on it. So AMD, very popular right now. Lots of buying going into it. And I mentioned with Tiger when we looked at that one that we were trading below the low for the analyst estimates, whereas for AMD, we're right around the average already for over the next 12 months where we see the price. So this is one that if I was looking for a time to take a position in AMD, I would wait for it to cool off a little bit, because I don't want to buy when it's already about where the analysts think that it should be. I'd rather buy below where they think it should be. But AMD is one of those hot and successful companies that it's so difficult to get a good price, because people are watching it so intently and so closely that the big news will make the price move very quickly. So maybe at a moment of some of that profit taking, trying to find out about where that bottom is going to come in. And from right now, we have a lot of no man's land territory. In other words, we don't have moving averages up there. We can put a faster one up there. We could put up like a 5-day or something to watch that moving average and see where it's sitting. We have the technical indicators like down here in the RSI. But yeah, Bill, what I'm saying, and I see what you're saying about thinking about taking some profit. For me, I definitely feel that greed that everybody feels, like, oh man, this could go higher. And we also don't want to miss the top of it. But remember that timing the markets is difficult. And if we find ourselves in a favorable position and we make that decision, and it's the best decision that we could make at the time, then we don't have regrets about that, even when we look in hindsight. So for me, I think it was Blink Charging. I think that was the one. Let's go take a look at it quick, and then I can talk about it better. So right now it's trading like $33. At one point, it went up over $64 per share. I took a position in this back when it was, this is the one. I was in like the mid 8s, I think, around $8 a share. This thing I sold when I saw it go up to like $12 a share. And I remember it was 10 or 12 because I was talking to my daughters about being 25 or 50% up just in a few days. And I said, look, I think I was talking to both my daughters. I said, look, girls, I said, do you see this one? When it goes up this quickly, this fast, oftentimes it comes ripping back down. So I might as well take advantage of it while the price is high. And I sold my position. And then when I sold my position, $10 or $12. So if it was 10, well, then it was like down here. And if it was $12, then it was up here. And you can see it went 8x almost over where I was at. So it went up over $64 per share. And I don't regret my decision. I made, before taxes, 25 to 50% on my money. And it took like a day or two for that to happen. And if I could do that more often, if I could train myself to just take advantage of those moments when they happen, then for those swing trades like Blink was for me at the time, those swing trade positions that I take, they could turn out a lot better instead of trying to time it and waiting for when I think it's going to turn around. So I don't have advice, and I can't give advice on what to do for AMD. But based on what we see in the chart, based on what I know from other charts, this is one that, and especially because it's at the same, let me see, the high yesterday was 110.33. The high today is 110.51. So we're within 18 cents. So less than 1% of that price from yesterday. This could be one of those that ends up turning back around. It could be one that keeps the run going, but the bulls do get tired eventually. So some of the indication that you can watch is on the volume that we have, that when that volume starts to taper off and the price goes up, or you can look at the RSI. If the RSI starts to drop significantly, that you get lower highs for the RSI, and the price is rising anyway, that's bearish divergence, which is usually a really good sign of a reversal, that instead of going up, that it's going to drop pretty quickly from there. So, I mean, you have your own call to make. do what you want to do with it. If this were me, I'd be right where you are, that you say that you think about taking some profit. If I were in your shoes, I would think the same thing. Um, that's a steep run really quickly. And I mean, one of my more recent ones was Roblox. Watching that go up over $100 per share. I watched that go up over $100 per share, and I'm like, that's where it's supposed to be a year from now. It's not. It's not going to stay there. That's going to come back down. It's going to settle a little bit. And I held on to my position anyway, and then I watched myself be right. Had I taken those profits and then reinvested, I could have had a more advantageous position, and that's one of those times where it would have worked out. The nice thing is when we look at this, look how well it's held, about $75 per share since then. That line of support that we haven't had in the publicly traded existence of Roblox. We haven't had support that's been that strong. And now finally we have support that's turning out to be pretty strong that was so far. And we'll see as the bears continue to apply that downward pressure to see if we're able to break out to the bottom, which I believe is a buying opportunity for Roblox because I'm long on Roblox. Or if it's one where that support will hold and we'll get that reversal finally coming out of Roblox price. So we'll see how that goes. Right now, we have yet to put in a higher high since that 103, but we are establishing a base of support. So let this trade sideways for a while. Let that support strengthen itself over time. And then, I think that we're in good shape. Nice job, Bill. Bought it in the 70s. Perfect. Okay. Taco, I thought that you were saying good morning with a typo, but no, you were saying that Hood is mooning. Okay. So Robinhood did not have the best of time when it IPO'd, but look at that. So it opened, peaked at 40.25. Where did it close at? Closed all the way down at $34. The next day we get this big old spider candle coming out, 33.25. And then now we're finally back up above where the opening price that we had on its IPO, pushing up. I wonder if we're going to hit resistance right around $40. That round number resist is being that thing that holds us down. We have a large order at $38.50 right now, and we'll see if there's enough upward pressure, enough buyers to come in and melt that away and keep it going. But you can see that sell side pressure in the level 2 building, especially as we get to 40 versus the weaker buy side that we have right now. So let's look intraday on Robinhood. All right. Well, we got a decent volume spike. This volume beating out that volume that we have over there. All right. And good morning, by the way, Taco. It's great to have you. Uh-oh. We got a frowny face on Baba. I just saw that one. And Jumia Technologies collectible bill. Also check that one out. I went out of order. I read from the bottom up instead of the top down. So I'll get you here in a second, John. All right. So last thing we had, there we go. 11 hours ago. Kramer, stocks that attract the buy now, pay later, young investor. Okay. Smart contracts make Cardano a big 3 crypto. I like Cardano. I mean, I know that's separate from talking about Robinhood, but the smart contracts with Cardano, I think it's a legitimate crypto that we're looking at. I think it has some legs to it. I don't think that it's enough to really rival what we have with Bitcoin or Ethereum. Bitcoin, I think, is in a separate space. Cardano, I think, is a little bit more competition to what Ethereum has. But I do like Cardano, and I think that has some staying power to it. So I'd have to look further and see if we have specific news on Robinhood. And being so new, I don't know if we're going to have analyst estimates. We don't have any reported there, and tip ranks likely won't have any either. Oof, Hood, there you go. All right, we have one analyst rating at $65. So watching this play out over time, Roblox was one that I felt like it needed some time to establish itself before I took a position. So Roblox, I let settle into the low 60s. I honestly wanted it below 60, but I didn't think that I was going to get it to it. So when I got to the low 60s, I took a small position. And then never really increased it, which actually with that support that I was talking about, I'm thinking about adding to my position for that one because it's one that I think I should fill out. And Skills is reporting its earnings today, I believe, in the aftermarket hours. And one of my patrons from my Patreon. In the Discord, linked an article talking about the monthly active users. I know I'm getting off topic a little bit. But skills, depending on skills performance, that can also reflect on the performance that we get for Roblox. So we can talk about that and try and figure out where that position is going to go in the future. Right now, I'm finished talking about Hood. So waiting for Hood to settle in price like I did for Roblox. If that works out, I might take a position. I think that they have a great thing going, and I think they will learn from the past. I don't think that they want to end up where they were at with GameStop. I really think that the word unprecedented has been used so many times for so long, but really it was without precedent. For that to happen the way that it did. So I think that they'll do what they can not to end up there again, because they do want to survive as a company, and because of their survival skills. I think that we'll see good things coming out of Robinhood in the future, and they'll definitely not want to repeat the mistakes of the past. So what else we got? Okay, JMIA. No problem, Bill. All right, down about 3%. So just looking what we have between pre-markets and yesterday's open, we've dropped down to support in those low 21s. The bottom candle here, 21.38. So like mid 21s, we can see support there. Let's go out to the daily chart to see more of their price action. Okay, I remember looking at this one before. I'm not exactly sure when. However, this one looks a little bit like Roblox recently, where it's establishing that nice base of support. It's like it bottomed out and it doesn't want to give up any ground. And if we go back here, it's not surprising. That's May 11th. There's two typical bottoms for growth companies that we see from this year. One is May 11th and the other one's May 13th. There's actually a third one, which is April, I believe it's 21st, where we see some low points for some different stocks. But this being May 11th, that max selling pressure, yes, that's the low. But the nice thing about that is that under the biggest amount of fear, uncertainty, and doubt that we could have about these growth companies, this thing bottomed out at $17.90 for max selling pressure. So assuming that not much has changed about the company from those days, and this isn't one I follow, so I can't speak about it specifically, but assuming that we don't have negative news that's going to devalue the company or devalue its fundamentals, if everything's the same under those same conditions for the company, we know what the bottom looks like. It looks like $17.90. And right now, without that max selling pressure, it looks like the mid 21s. So just something to look at there. It is nice that finally it's trading sideways. And when you look at the rest of the sell-off that we have, there's nowhere in here that looks like this part does. And so trading sideways, if it's one that you're bullish on, this is one that you want to see that base of support so that you know where the bottom is. And I think right now we do know where two different bottoms are. We know where the bottom is recently, right around mid 21s, and we know where the bottom was under max selling pressure, which was $17.90, where we saw a lot of incredible deals starting to come around in May. And now we're starting to see some of those deals finally come back again. I didn't buy much of anything through June or July because in the growth area, there was just so much that wasn't cheap anymore, like it was when we saw these sell-offs. All right. I'll get back to Hood. We'll check it out again soon. I want to catch up on these. So let's check out Baba with the frowny face. There we go. Down about 4%, down about 192. All right. So I was just talking about max selling pressure, and I was just talking about support. So when we look here, the 27th, there's a lot of Chinese companies that were down on the 27th. And this is Alibaba is certainly no exception there. And what we have, about 190 being that area of support, and we're not too far off of that right now, rocking about $192 for their current price action. There we go. So analyst estimates on this one, it's starting to look cheap. We're below that $200 mark. And this was something a while ago. Actually, I have the lines drawn on here I've mentioned this before since I've been live streaming with these lines. And in here, if you can't read it, it says need to span this gap. So when we saw this drop off, we were getting near it. We're getting near resistance. There's really nothing in between, and we made it up. We started flirting with that line right there of resistance, and we were unable to break through it. And since then, we've had more of a sell-off. and sort of dancing along this 50-day, which is now acting as a resistance for us. So should we get that positive price action at 211, or probably buy then if it continues downward 205 or even 200, we want to see this support hold because we need to find out for BABA where that line of support is. And right now, I think it's a little bit early, but it's a huge company, and if they do well, coming through the little bit of a mess that the Chinese companies are having right now in the United States markets, if they come out of that well, we could start to see that positive price action. But the trend has been down for a while, so we're still abiding by that. We actually have a fairly linear trend coming off the bottom of these. So I'll go from back here. I know that we have some of those lower values too, but you can sort of see that those lows and how we're following right along that line. This right here, not that we can negate it, but something must have happened right around that time. I don't exactly remember what it was for Bob. I'd have to go back and look. It just take a little bit too much time right now, but you can see that downtrend, and we need that sideways movement to break us away. We need it to happen long enough to break us away from that and give us some good signs of reversal. RSI is still down in the bearish territory. And same thing that we have down in here when we look at the MACD, we're not really getting, I mean, we had a false buy signal back here. But, you know, other than that, there's not much to talk about. So let's watch that support play out, and we'll find out where bottom is. And then from there, reevaluate the position on BABA to find out, you know, when is it going to turn around? What do they have going for it right now that's causing all of this sell-off? So just some things to consider. All right, what else we got? Are you patient? Bottom 70s. Let me see. All right, let me move away in my. There we go. I want to see the percent changes here. Palantir, all right. Well, I just by chance happened to click on Palantir, but while we're here, might as well talk about it. So they are down today, but by how much? All right, down less than 1% today. And I had these lines drawn on here for a while for the different areas where we start to bump up against support or resistance. And right now you can see that we're dancing along support, and there's that sideways trade that we see. We're actually just a little bit above it. We got to finally have a 200-day appearing. It does have a positive slope. That's a good thing. We had huge price action that's influencing some of that. And then the 50-day, it looks like it's sort of going flat on us, and we've got to watch out for that cross. Palantir, another one that I'm bullish on. We'll watch how it plays out over time, and really the adoption that we have, how broadly they're adopted by how many companies, what size those companies are, the price of the contracts, and what they do with their employee incentive packages that they have, or through their options programs that they, or the options packages that they assemble for their employees. No problem, John. So yeah, I would watch those lines, and since we're below the moving averages, I would call those resistance of themselves. And then the next time that we hit it is around mid-20s. So another one that it's going to be earnings at revenue probably before its profit, that we're going to watch the top lines. We're going to see how well that fills out, and then how well they're able to transition that into the bottom line. All right, so there we go. All right, Robinhood, did it break 40? Nope, high 30.99. So we spiked up. We almost hit 40. We peaked at 30.99, and now it's settling a little bit back under 39. It looks like we have a decent amount of buy side support still in the high 38s. Let's go down to the 30-minute chart. There we go. Let's go down to the 5-minute chart. Take a sip of my coffee here. All right. So I mentioned before, I think it was before this formed out, because that was 55. And I feel like I talked about this around 40 or 45. And maybe there's a timestamp in the comments. I don't know. But I said about that $40 and watching it, you know, turn around to that point, or if it's going to break resistance at 40. And so far it didn't. So my guess for the rest of the day for Robinhood, unless this takes a rest and then turns back around. But given how far it's penetrated this candle that we have back here, it might just continue to kind of trade sideways, even if it is a little bit up and down. Maybe we'll get some nice even lows coming intraday for this before it spikes back up. But I am keeping my eye on Robinhood, and it's one that, given the right timing and the right conditions, after I see how the price action does and seeing where the market's pricing it in, I might take a position myself. As of right now, I don't have one. Again, you can see that sell side pressure, 38.90. There's a huge order. We're melting some of it away at 13.90, but we're still seeing that bit of resistance. Lots of buy side pressure fighting back, though, at 38.72. We got a big order there as well. So that'll be interesting over time to watch that play out. CRSR. Ooh, I typed in that wrong. Corsair. Let me go out to the daily chart so we can see more of what's going on. Then we'll come back to intraday. Ooh, there's a gap down for you. Okay, so looking at the chart, it looked like we actually had good support right around the low 28s. And then today, we gapped down. We're not quite down 7% right now, but we're close to 7%. And the high today was 27.37, low 26.17. Analyst estimates on this one. I figured that would be trading cheaply. And we have 9 analysts covering it, so a little bit smaller. All right. Huge volume spike in there. I wonder if we had a little bit of a short squeeze of that price action that we had before it came back down. Let me get that off of there just to see more of our volume. Okay. One more moment to see the chart, and then I'll comment more on it. So it might not be coincidental that where we sort of peaked over here could be a small area of resistance, or in this case, turning into support for its current price action. And it looks like we have room to fall down. And that's about it, is that we do have room to fall down. So if this tenuous grip on support that it has right here, given this little bit of a peak that we had over here, that's the whole ceiling becomes the floor idea. If that's not enough to hold it, we could see more of one. I don't know what's caused this gap down because I don't track this one, but let's take a look. All right, so Benzinga, what's up with the gaming stock today? Let's see if Benzinga tells us what's up with the stock today. Company announced worse than expected second quarter earnings, so it's an earnings thing. 36 cents per share, below 39, so not terrible, but not great. Company reported revenue, so they beat on revenue, but then lost out on earnings. Reaffirmed its full year guidance, 1.9 to 2.1 billion. So it's a smaller company. Underlying fundamentals of business as their gamers continue to purchase. So they didn't meet the expectation on earnings, but they're keeping their guidance for revenue in place. So we actually want to hear more about their earnings, like what they expect to do to bring them back to where they're supposed to be for those earnings. So our results in the highlight strength of underlying fundamentals of our business as gamers continue to purchase and upgrade their gear as an entertainment outside of the home and travel begin to open back up. All right. High performance gear for gamers and content creators. Interesting. Okay. Corsair Gaming has traded as high as 51.37. Okay. Got it. So their earnings weren't quite as strong as expected. So what we could have had was a little bit of price in. It doesn't even really look like that we had price for those sort of earnings. So we'll see. They could rotate out of this. I'd have to look more to see what's meriting this price action. However, it doesn't sound like there's anything way too damaging. Maybe there's some doubt over the reopening, that it will discourage gaming. That would include the gear that Corsair makes. We are dipping into the oversold territory, so it is possible to see that hold. Over time, we see going from bearish territory for RSI, bullish territory for RSI. You can see it did break off those peaks that we had, and now it's lowering down into bearish for a while here. Still positive on the 200-day. There we go. And it looks like they did very well through the pandemic. A little bit of sell-off, lots of support there, which could be lots of resistance moving forward. So maybe if they do go back to the upside on this one, we have 20. What would that be? That'd be more like 10-ish% upside in the near term, like 7 to 10% upside from where they're currently at. Let's go see what TipRank says about it. So if I had to guess, and this is speculation because I don't follow them, but I'm just guessing based off what it says and the reactions to the earnings and the reopening. We do want to look at a mention of EPS because they missed on earnings. So to find out what that was and what they plan to do about it. So maybe they offer guidance there. They did say that they're holding in line with their expectations on revenue from 1.9 to 2.1 billion. So that's not a negative for them necessarily, but it does sound like there might be a little bit of doubt on whether or not they're going to really be able to transition into the reopening and still remain strong. So does that affect the fundamental outlook? And it might. So something to consider. The price targets that we have, and we'll see how they adjust, and that could be a wonderful tell. Is looking how the analyst estimates adjust recently. The most recent one we got was 6 days ago at $55, which would be a double from where it's currently at. And we look at some of the older ones. Let me look at the low that we have, $37, which is still almost a 40% upside from where it was at before, and that was on a downgrade. So we have a lot of people reiterating, and we have 2 downgrades, and we have 1 initiation, but all of them are reporting upsides. So we'll see with the new analyst estimates coming out. With the new earnings report coming out, how the analyst estimates adjust to that, and hopefully we either get some reiteration or we get some initiations. And if we get downgrades, it could be that they don't expect the same, but it could be still a better picture than what's currently being painted by the most recent price action being in the mid 26s. Lots of sell side pressure, by the way, at 26.90. Just looking intraday, as I said, we would look intraday. There we go. Check in with some of our other companies, including we'll check in with crypto too. We have yet to do that today. So intraday, buy side 26.50. We have a lot of orders coming in. 26.55, relatively large amount there. So we actually have some buy side pressure coming back in. And remember that I said that we're near a sort of support area right now, and so we can watch as this goes out. If it establishes that base support, if we get a bounce off of it, whether or not it's going to be just a small bounce and then it's going to drop off some more. It doesn't sound like end of the world kind of earnings. It sounds like they were okay earnings. They were close to what was expected. They did miss by a 13th of the expectation, which it's not the worst. It'd be better if they met expectation or if they beat expectations. But I'm guessing the forward guidance from here would be more the thing that would be lagging their price right now. So like I said, I want to watch the analyst estimates come out and see what they have to say. It could still be a 2x opportunity that right now there's just a lot of doubt that's causing that sort of recent price action, that sell-off that we have. So yeah, keep an eye on it, read about it, and see if it's really a place where you can find some opportunity. All right, let's see. There we go. Let's go out to, we'll start with our boy Bitcoin. There we go. All right, so just, that's the 30-minute chart. That's why it looks so weird. There we go. So Bitcoin, we're just wondering if we're going to go back up in price here. So Bitcoin, like we've seen over the past few weeks play out, 29,000 being about where that bottom is. And then the tops, we managed to make it just over the resistance that we have over here. And we're getting more recently fairly strong resistance. Where is that at? There we go. Just above 42,000. So when we look at the highs that we have, the high on the 30th, so that was Friday, 42.4, and then on Saturday 42.4 again, and then 42.4. We have yet to break into 42.5 from these recent prices that we have on the daily chart. It is neat to see this little hammer candle that we have coming out. We're still in bullish territory with the RSI on the daily chart for Bitcoin. And let's see if we can move out to weekly here to see a little bit more. There we go. So here's something that I was looking at when we look at Bitcoin, and this candle that we have forming up after this one. So we have a nice green candle there. It happened on good volume, as a matter of fact, as well. That's also a good thing. We get a double top resist. However, we want to see this candle. We don't want to see it break for a bullish movement momentum. We don't want to see it break any lower than it has already. So right now, sitting at its price action could be enough of a recovery after that most recent bull run that we've had. But when we get over 50% retracement, that could be something that would engulf this candle and turn back into bearish action. On the weekly chart, take a look at how well it's following support, by the way, at that on that 50-day simple moving average on the weekly chart that we're looking at here. I'm going to go back to daily. Tesla heading down. I wonder if it hit 720 and then fell back down. I'm going to have to check it out. Market pullback. The market, you know, they keep on saying about grinding higher. When they start to use the words in the headlines like the market's grind higher, you know, it sounds like it's effort, like it's work. And if it's effort and work to move higher, then that could be like the thing you could think about as the strain to move higher, and then something that could you know, fall back on us a little bit. You know, we need some sort of resting period to take place. Give me a moment and let my cat out of the room here before he meows his head off. There you go, buddy. All right. So I swear he's learning these bad habits from Tesla Cat, by the way. Sees him on there and he meows during the videos and stuff. He's a noisy cat. The other cat doesn't make much noise at all. But yeah, anyway, moving on from cats and back to this. So from Bitcoin, this is the daily chart that we're looking at. And this little hammer candle could be a sign that we have. Let me go to CoinMarketCap and pull up Bitcoin's chart because they show me a little bit better with the volume than WEBULL does. For some reason, when you go to crypto, you don't see the volumes reported as well as you do on CoinMarketCap's chart. So if you just go to CoinMarketCap, get whatever crypto you want, and then click on Trading View, that'll show you the candlesticks, and it'll also show you the volumes. And you can also put on a whole lot of whatever other indicators you would use on your trading platform, and drawing tools and everything. You can do all of that on CoinMarketCap. So there we can see the daily chart, and we can see with this price action, we had that volume spike, which is good. Now it's starting to taper off, and sometimes volume follows price, so it starts to cool off a little bit. So let me see. There we go. Looking a little bit different than what we had on the oh, that's the daily chart. Yeah, looking a little bit different than what we had on the WEBULL one. So we'll see where that goes from there. Like I said, if we drop back to 36, or maybe I'm trying to look bottom to top, the average about 35. If we go below 35,000, it could be possible that we would keep on dropping in the short term. Bullish on Bitcoin overall as well. I think that it's one that's going to have that sort of staying power in crypto. You know, being first to market as it was the leader, I think it's just going to continue to stay a leader, and it's going to be that store of value type crypto that we hear so much about. So we'll watch that, and you know, watch for signs of turnaround for Bitcoin, and it could be just a little bit of a rest after that strong run up that we had. This is only natural. Plus, it also tells us where we find resistance, which is just below that. It's about 44.5 is about where we're peaking out. All right, let's look at Ethereum. Oops. There we go. I almost went to Ethereum Grayscale instead of Ethereum itself. There we go. So Ethereum, very similar to what we saw for Bitcoin, 200-day still positively sloped, and we have a little bit of a cross with that 50, but the 50 finally went flat, and it was negatively sloped for a while here since we had that May sell-off. Following that, it finally won out over the 50-day. 50-day starts dropping, but now it could be that we're going to stay in that bullish territory where we get that next run going, and it is natural to see that sort of resting take place. Yeah, I don't know how. Is that cat loud when it comes through? Because he's definitely loud in the room. I'm sure that he comes through the microphone in some way. All right. So Ethereum, I think the London hard fork right now, there's talk of, you know, has EIP 1559 already priced in. Some people think it's already been priced in. Some people think that it's yet to be seen for that price action. I can see both arguments. I really think it's going to be emotionally impactful to watch the base fee burn happen and to see those measurements come out that quantify just how much money is going up in smoke through the base fee burn. I think that that's going to be something that changes people on a psychological level, just to watch that happen and to actually realize the supply and demand changes that go along with that base fee burn. And it's just one of those things that I think people will wake up to when it happens, even if it's not immediate. I think over time, as we see more and more money just being melted away through that base fee burn process, I think that it's going to turn into positive price action and give us more bullish momentum going forward. Your cat meowed during crypto. Maybe I do have a crypto cat, John. What do you think about CL? Okay. Woo, 300% on tip ranks. Yeah, Marshall, let's check it out. There we go. All right. So I remember hearing about Clean Spark after it already ran up in price. It already started hitting this point where it just started skyrocketing in price. So it was one that, because it was up so much by the time I heard about it, I just didn't touch it. And that would have been somewhere around like the mid 20s. And then I watched it go up into the 40s. And I was like, maybe I should have bought some. But I remember in my earlier days of trading on the stock market, I most definitely, when I saw up in the 40s, be like, man, this thing's going to the moon, while it was in its 40s. And then you could watch it drop off from there. But how many times have we seen this sideways trade recently, or this little taper from the top side of this with that selling pressure and then support holding? This is either the third or fourth company that we've looked at just today where we see that. It could be that we start to see a lot of the risk. Well, because we have that sell off, a lot of the risk has come out of this. But it is bottoming out right around. Let me zoom in some more. Looks like the high 12s, and then down here is our low point at $12.40. So mid to high 12, so below $13. It looks like we're finding support for that one, and analyst estimates on this one. Holy cow! So watching that 3x would be something to be absolutely incredible. And there's got to be a story. There's only 2 analysts out on this one, so that's something to pay attention to. It's a small company. They're probably a growth company that's not yet profitable. So this is one that, we want to find out the reason why they're so bullish, and we also want to know how recent those analysts come out. So let's go LSK. There we go. All right, so $50 price target of 278. All right, so HC Wainwright and BTIG, and we have a 5-star analyst. So 50-50 for him being successful with his ratings. So we got a coin flip coming from Amit Dayal. Gregory Lewis is a half-star analyst, right 40% of the time, and his average return is negative. So better coverage would tell us a little bit more. And they have been reiterated price targets, but they are from 3 months ago. So let me see, it's August. So that would take us back to May. So finding out what they see for the company moving forward to merit such high analyst estimates. So $45 and $50. It looks like the only one that they're reporting on is the $50. So maybe it's based on the rating that we see more so than the age of what we have in the analyst estimates. It'd be nice to find out a little bit more about what merits this sort of price action, what sort of fundamentals they have, like when do they expect to hit profitability. So yeah, I don't know that much to speak specifically about the company, but if there's that sort of upside potential, you'd really have to read into it to find out what you see in the company that other people aren't seeing, because it could also just be lots and lots of sell side pressure right now being something that depresses the price. But in the short term, or even if we're taking a long term, being down near support like we are and seeing that support has held recently, and determining whether or not we believe that that's support that's going to hold, then given a bullish outlook, that could inform you on, you know, what a good entry point is. Being down near support like it is versus being up near resistance. When people ask me, you know, what's a good price to get in this, I would much rather for myself buy in when we're down near support versus buying in when we're up near resistance. That's assuming we're taking long-term long positions on this versus short positions. All right. So it's about 10:20, and my family has gotten to the point where they make fun of me because every day they hear me say that my goal is to end at 10 o'clock, and it's always afterwards. So they were actually quoting me and teasing me because I always say about ending at 10, and I'm always going after 10. I really do enjoy talking with you guys. Thank you so much for participating in the comments. I'm going to wrap things up from here. So I will be back on Wednesday at 9:15. So I'm going to get that time back to where it should be, assuming no technical difficulties. I've gotten things smoothed out pretty well, and assuming my cats aren't driving me crazy again. But yeah, 9:15 tomorrow. I will not be on Friday. I'm playing in a memorial scholarship golf tournament on Friday. So I'm doing that with my father-in-law, and so I have to leave the house at 7:45 a.m. So I'm going to miss the market open. So that's on Friday, August the 6th. That I will not be live streaming that day. But I will be here Wednesday. I will be here Thursday, then be back again Monday for the live streams. So thank you, everyone. It's been incredible, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day.